Hello everyone and welcome to a new tutorial on Rhino and Grasshopper. Today we're going to continue with the Topo Kit series. Today we'll present the paths and stairs. So paths and stairs is just other of the two options you have, other of the two features you have to modify your landscape and also to enrich the landscape design. And it's we already did the walls and curves, so it's a similar sort of workflow. So I recommend you to have a look at my previous video tutorial on walls and curves. So we will continue working on with the same example and the same, let's say, data set. So I have here already a mesh created, a topo mesh created. I created using the create geoset. I linked that to the topo layer, and I have sublayers. So these all sublayers are already read by this, let's say, component. And I have here the contours. I will show you how it looks this without the, so I have here all the contours, boundaries to define those areas, the spots, and other geographic and meant lines, but I'm not using this one. So now how it looks, the topographic, let me go back to this. So the topography looks like this. If we go to perspective, oh, sorry. That's how it looks. Our topography is a very simple one. So after we created the topo, we brought it into draw topo, and we set up the minimum and maximum divisions and angle intolerance, and then we just use a contour tool to preview the new contours. It make it easier to visualize and understand the terrain, and also our custom preview for the surface. So once we have this done, the most important now is just to have a new in a layer other two sublayers of information. So one of those will be the path spots, and the other will be the center line. So now I will turn off this, and then I want to show you, we are not going to use the walls and the spots and curves previously done. We're going to use the center lines of our line. So here I just draw two paths. This is going along the whole, let's say, curvature. That's one of the paths. It doesn't matter the elevation because it's not using the elevation to understand it. And then we have here another path. What it's going to use is the spot. The path spots are points in the space that will be used to define the bottom part of the line. Now, what is very, very important, and remember this, depending on how you draw the line, it will be defined, the center line, it will be defined the slope of your path. So having said that, let's go here to the top view. So if I start drawing in this direction as I'm doing right now, and then continuing in the other opposite direction, well, in this case, I need to use a polyline, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. What basically have to do this. The problem is this close. Let's use this curve. So if I draw it in this way, this first point will be considered the bottom part or the initial point of the slope. So I will show you that with an example how this affects the way the path is estimated and calculated. So your point has to be there in that point as well. Okay. So let me see if I manage to put this into perspective. So that's the case of these lines. For example, I draw one line and I put the first point at this. Let me disable the constant preview. So here I draw these two lines separately because otherwise everything is considered one path with one single slope. So it makes it a bit difficult to control different heights along the spot. You may have, let's say, pathways that go up and down So, but if you put one single line, as I show you right now in the example I will show you, you will have one single slope. So the first thing, it's better to visualize what I'm trying to explain. So the first thing we're gonna do, it's just to draw a geometry pipeline. And with the geometry pipeline, we want for the paths and center lines, we want one be called feats from features. And then we need to put the sub layer now. The name will be path, sorry, center lines. Okay, if they are capital, all, oh gosh, um, feeds on feeds, um, center lines. Okay, so if we have all in capital letter, everything has to be in capital. If we use a combination of capital and lowercase, or uppercase and lowercase, you need to do the same in the geometry pipeline. Otherwise, it's not going to grab that information. Okay, and the second one we need is the, again, feeds path underscore spots. Sure, and it hasn't collected the information because we need to explain if this is a point or a curve. So now the information has been collected and we can disable just clicking Control Q. We save our, let's say, script. And now the next step is just to create, what we're going to create is a path. Okay, create path. And here what it requires is just the center line, connect there. It requires the bottoms. The bottoms are the points describing the bottom center point of each path. Okay, so in this case, they are here, this describing this path because I start drawing in this direction, anti-clockwise. And this one I draw from the top to the bottom, and I will show you how it works. So here already collected that information. I haven't put this the width, so it's good if you check your units as usual. Tools, options, unit, meters. So I know that I need, let's say, 4 meters width. And then the slope will be, let's say, 2 degrees. Okay, so after getting all that information, we are going to disable that. We're going to draw the path. And we just connect. And so we draw here our path. Okay, if we try to visualize this, so our path sometimes goes under, sometimes goes on the top. We have draw and we got the surface, we got the sides, etc. All that information. So until we really visualize this properly, or in the modification of the topography, we will not understand. It's just paths floating in the air or going into the topography. So what we need to do is grab this path and plug it into the features to modify the topographies. Now the topography has changed to follow the path, but you can see the topography, it's kind of overlapping, and you see this awkward representation. Here is a smooth, as you can see, it has been modified smoothly. But if we change this bottom line, this bottom spot, you will see that the topography will start changing depending on that. So it will increase it dramatically. You will see the path has changed. So how is this estimated? You have here your slope of 2. So the 2 degrees, or the decimal degrees they're using here to estimate the slope, will be calculated from the initial point along the whole curve. It doesn't matter if your curve, it's drawn like this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change. What it defines is just this sort of point, and then the slope grows from it. So you can control somehow, as you can see here, but also it's very difficult if you really want to have different slopes along the curve. So what I suggest is you can create something what we have done here it's individual lines or polylines or curves. This can be curvilinear or rect or straight. It doesn't matter. You can split this into multiple lines and then define each of them with an individual point, bottom point. So you have more control. Let's imagine you move this up, but you see this one doesn't follow the same. It could be down. So although the lines are connected, the paths are not connected. And this gives you some freedom to modify as you wish. So you can bring this up slightly and then you will see the path is not connected. But makes more sense if you want to create and have control of these heights. Another option is just create one of these paths individually for each curve with a individual slope. That means that you may need to generate one slope for this point and another slope here. So you can have here maybe another slope. And that is not difficult if you may need to create a subset here of spots. So for example, path spots with an angle X and another path of spots with another angle. So you have to divide the work, okay? So otherwise, don't put all the lines at once in this pipeline. You can have here with different slopes and angles. Now, notice here if we we have drawn this line in this direction, so this is the one that's controlling, okay? Let's go to the top and let's make a line, a polyline of 2 points against central lines, and then let's make it in the opposite direction. And then let's put the center point in the spots here. Let's go to perspective, and then you will see here this point is controlling the line from the initial point. Here it is. Make sense? So as you can see here, with the same 2 degrees the slope, this is going downward, from this point upward, and then in the other case it's going from this point upward. They make it this a bit more dramatic, increasing the angles, and you will notice the difference. Okay, so it's very important to understand how this sort of geometry works. Otherwise, you will have very awkward surprises, and then you may lose control also of the points. So if you want to have different angles, I suggest you to create another set of path and center lines and rename your features according to the angle. So you know paths and center lines that corresponds to 30 degrees and or 5 degrees, etc. So we have managed to create the sort of paths. We see here there is an overlapping of these visualizations. So what I will suggest to do is we can add here a move component, plug the surface there, and then move that in a specific, let's say, direction, which is unit set, the vector, and then define a factor, let's say of 0.05 centimeters. In that sense, we have managed to move slightly this surface. It doesn't look like overlapping the topography. There are always these awkward things that are happening here. Maybe we can move this slightly and then you will see the things improve. So this gives you the option to modify slightly the topography. So the points, so they follow a much more logical way around the topography. That's it. They're always not, there's not perfect, obviously. Suggestions here, it's better to work this beautiful, a continuous line, but then you need to be very careful in the way they match, and you can split these, but they should try to split along very closely in angle. Otherwise, you will have this sort of awkward relationship between one and another. But then you have this geometry, let's say, transform. And then we can use, again, a custom visualization with all this here to visualize. Sorry. That's the geometry. And we visualize it with a different color if you want concrete. Yeah. So they're not, are not overlapping. Okay, so that's how it works, paths. So just remember this, it matters the way you're drawing it. So the first point, it will define the bottom part, and then you will locate the point that it is the bottom there, and that will be to you will use to control the direction of the slope. Okay, so that's our first of the tools, and the last one is very easy and similar. They are the stairs. So to create the stairs, you can create the stairs as well. There are also some rules you need to follow, but the important is I created in the topography layer a sublayer called stairs. Make it current. And let's imagine at the end of this ramp or this sort of path, you want the stairs coming down and following this sort of topography and slope. We can create those stairs by bringing again a pipeline. There are options here. We can create a pipeline geometry if you have multiple stairs, or you just create one single whatever. We can create a pipeline geometry, connect here, and then it's topo stairs. And we're going to bring here B-reps. So that's how it works. Nothing connected, collected because for obvious reasons there are nothing there, draw. And then we're going to bring here we go to create stairs. Then we bring draw, stairs. Similar steps. So we connect this to surface, and from surface here. And the rise defines the height of the step, right? The rise of the step. So let's put 0.17. Obviously, people will not go above 20 or something like that. So nothing has happened because we haven't drawn anything. I suggest go to the top view, and whenever you want to draw the stairs, you will draw it. Now, I will do this on purpose. People will not put attention to the way they're drawing the surface here, okay, with 3 points or 4 points. And I will draw it in this way, beautiful. This is how it looks, my stairs. Let me disable this custom preview. And then is where we have our stairs, okay? Now, you get this error. Why? Because the stairs don't have an angle or a slope. So let's move it up. Let's move it up. Yep, and once we have moved up, now it's good to turn on again the, and then let's try to use here, tilt this in an angle, okay? And then is why we got a very awkward thing. The stairs look very awkward. This may happen to you. Why? Because you didn't put attention in the way you were drawing the polygon or the surface. This, okay? So let's delete this. And again, let's start over again to do it properly. So the top view, then you draw. So the first thing you have to draw is the initial point at the bottom of the stairs. Otherwise they will flip. Then all the length of the stairs, let's do it again from this point, all the length up to the closest point you want. Then, oh, sorry, from the bottom all the way to the top here and go down. You can make it longer, shorter, whatever dimension you want, and enter. Put perspective, choose that, bring it up, and then be careful in the way you're rotating it, and then tilt it. So now you can see it's calculated properly. Okay, let's So somehow it happens this for some reasons. Sometimes I don't know why it's not collecting properly. You can change maybe the rise. You will see it looks better and then reduce it. Somehow small numbers make it look funny. It's something I haven't yet managed to control. And what you could do, I think it is just more about the visualization, but something will work with this. So let's do it the opposite way. Let's go to the top. Now let's draw the surface from this point till the bottom, this way and this way. Good. Now we come here, we bring it up, we tilt, and let's wait for the component. So sometimes the component doesn't work properly. So these masses are missing. Okay. So it might be something related to the angle, the rise of the calculation, perhaps, but it's not properly done. I found this problem several times, but sometimes it works properly. We do it. You can come also to the front or right to try to do it properly with the right angle, and then tilt it in the right angle. Oh, disappear. This is still there, but it has to be up. Yep, that it is. So we have it now. So if the angle matters, yes. Well, we can go to the top and try to move it closer to the area. So what it's doing is now embedding with the terrain. Now perspective. So what another thing we could do is either the terrain is this is being embedded. Notice that there is a problem here with the angle. So what we could do is also tilt this slightly, bring it down, and correct. So I notice is the tilt what also makes a difference here. So when yep. So there are several things that have to be done here to calculate properly the rise and angle. Yeah. So once you have done that, you can also make it interact with your topography by adding the masses. You can click on shift, sorry, here the surface and put in the topography and make the topography to adjust to your stairs, or sorry, or you can also create a custom visualization. Again, here, see there's something weird happening. Yeah, I'm not 100% happy with this. It, I think, relates to the angle of the stairs. Look, every time you change the angle, there may be something here that should be improved. Yeah, let me do it again because I'm not very happy with these stairs. Top. Okay, that looks better. Now go to the top and approach it slightly to the other surface. There, yep. So now it looks better, much better, and much better visualized. So it slightly needs to tilt. Let's go to the front and tilt a little bit. Ah, and then the problem happens. So very tricky. Yep. So you have done here the stairs. You can add another one on this one and then create something similar, or you just simply don't connect or merge with the topography. You can also use a merge component to connect the first data and the second data and use that instead and merge the paths and the stairs together. And with this way, we have created, we have modified and created new features of this topography. I hope this tutorial has been also very useful. We still have to domain a little bit more the stairs and see what's causing the sort of issues. You need to be careful with that. Some limitations are the tool is not perfect, but it gives you some options. And if you really hack let's say the script, there may be options for you to do something more freely, but it gives you a lot of opportunities to incorporate these features in the topography and modify the topography with them. Um, Not 100% perfect. There are many ways you could also insert the stairs by just making simple B-reps and geometries. You don't need to go through all this process. This is basically if you want to use that feature to modify the terrain exactly as we have done here. That's all for today. In future, I will come with new tutorials with the plan kit. So stay tuned and see you in next time. Bye bye. Take care.